Hey filmmakers, how's it going? Welcome back to another late night live stream. Today we're going to be talking about the basics of building your own camera rig. And if you've already built out a camera rig, that's okay. Stick around. We're going to be talking about anything that you want to more in detail if you have questions. And if you haven't really built one before, then great. This is a good place to get started. We'll be going over a couple different parts. And if you want your camera rig reviewed on the live stream, DM it to me right now on Instagram at Chadwin. And I'll be just looking at the messages coming in throughout the live stream and pulling in your guys' photos of your camera rigs. Then we'll be taking a look at them, breaking them down in Photoshop with everyone. So definitely feel free to send those over. So I think this is going to be a good live stream, pretty laid back. Thank you all for joining me, and message in the comments where you're from. I know it's late where I'm at, but it might be morning where you are. So definitely leave that down below. I'd love to know. Let's see who's already in. Let's see. Someone from Russia. Sorry, I can't pronounce your username, but welcome on into the live stream. So let's talk a little bit about camera rigs as they start to come in. I have a few submissions. Thank you guys for sending them. We'll get to them in just a minute here. So, the first thing, anytime you're rigging out a camera, is basically you have to decide how you actually want to, configure it and which way is going to be the best so that you can move from system to system. So if you're going on a tripod, then maybe to a gimbal, maybe to handheld, you're going to rig out your camera completely different, probably between each of those. And so that'll make you decide the way that you rig it kind of differently. So I have the Canon M50 here, for example. You could do this with any camera. I'm shooting on the Sony FX3. But one of the first things that I always try to find in a camera rig is a cage that has an Arca Swiss plate built onto the bottom of it. So on the bottom of this cage, it has the mounts so that I can go directly onto Arca Swiss and tighten it down. That means I don't have to add an additional Manfrotto like 502 plate to this or any other type of quick release plate, which is extremely convenient so that you're not taking those on and off. As long as most everything you use is Arca Swiss, it's going to speed things up a lot. So something that works really great with this is the Ronin S and the Ronin RS2. It has an Arca Swiss mount. So you can just go right onto that, and then you can take this off and put it onto, whatever your rail setup is. If you have a 15mm rail setup for a handheld or shoulder rig or something like that, it just makes it really easy. Or if you're a tripod, if you put an Arca Swiss mount on the top. So first off, that's a quick way to get between them. And I love that, having that integration with the cage. So the next thing is actually the base that you want to go into. And this kind of depends on what kind of a rig you want to build out. If you want to do 15mm rods or not, kind of depends on how light and simple you want to go. For me, I usually like to have the option of 15mm rods. So I'm using this base plate that just has a spot to slide in the 15mm rods. And then on the top, I have put an Arca Swiss mount. So I'll show you that really quick. And just slides right on the top. And then I can tighten this down. Here we go. So once that is nice and in position, we're good to go. And what I have on the bottom of this little base plate, and I'm going to link down to like as many of these parts as I can down in the description. So if there's one that I talk about that you don't see in the description, just hit it in the chat and I'll see if I can find the link for you. Then on the bottom of this, I actually do have a Manfrotto 502 plate because most of my tripods are the standard Manfrotto 502 release plate. So I can just slide this right onto a tripod. But that's okay. Not all my tripods have to be Arca Swiss as well, because usually when I want to take this off, it's to go onto a gimbal, which uses the Arca Swiss. So, and this is just a good way to get off of those rails really quickly. If you don't want all of the extra, accessories and things that you're going to use on rails, you can just pull it off and have the camera basically bare, naked, so that you can just throw it light and easy onto a gimbal. So that's one really huge key factor of getting kind of the base of your rig set up. So let me know, what kind of quick releases and systems do you guys use? Are you using Manfrotto and Arca Swiss, or using some other type there's so many different companies that make their quick releases. There's a ton, so I'd love to know what is the most common for you. All right, so after I've got this base on, I always add my rails, and you can get these in all different sizes. These are 6-inch rails, and I've got a little bucket of parts here, so let me pull those out. So we also have a standard 1-foot rail. These get a little bit long, to be honest. The only time I use something like this is when I'm building out a shoulder rig and I need something longer to kind of counterbalance the whole rig. So I typically don't pull out the 1-foot ones very often, especially for most of my rigs that are like handheld rigs or tripod rigs. So my go-to is typically 6 inches. If you've never used 15mm rods before, that's what I recommend starting out with. It's probably going to be a good kind of in-between for setting up basic shots or like setting up a basic rig. So I just slide this right into place in the rails here. See, loosen this up. There we go. And then now I've got rails so I can add things like my follow focus. I could add a matte box, all different things. And on the back of this is, I've actually already got it attached here, but let me see if I can remove this so you guys can see. Let's see here. I think I have it attached. Oh yeah. Okay. So basically I have this little V-mount hinge from SmallRig. I'll see if I can show you this a little bit better, but it allows you to put a V-mount battery on the back, and it's very light, compact. That's it. It's just this little part, and then it's on a hinge so I can kind of adjust the battery to go at whatever angle I want. And straight up and down, laying down, whatever it is. And that's just extremely simple. And the reason that I'm doing this now instead of, let me grab it. So I got this huge bucket of parts here. I'm just gonna dig around for a second here. So here is a base plate for V-mount battery. This one is from Tilta. It's one of my favorites. And then let me grab one. This one's from Fotga, and this is one of the first ones that I used ever, but I like this Tilta one better because, as you can see, it's a lot slimmer profile. It's a little bit shorter, it's a little bit thinner, but it still really does the same thing. It's got D-tap ports on the side, 12 volt out, 8 volt out. So I highly recommend the Tilta one now if you need it, and it's a little bit more adjustable. This one only tilts like backwards and forwards, whereas this one has a lot more adjustment capabilities to it, so you can really customize where it lands on your rig. So let me get this giant bucket out of the way here. All right, so with this gives you all those different ports and options like I was talking about to plug in D-tap and kind of power your accessories, your camera, that sort of thing. And sometimes I run with this on the back of my rigs. It just depends on what I need and what I'm shooting. But usually I'm just running this teeny tiny little V-mount plate now, because most of my V-mount batteries actually have ports, like multiple ports out on them. Whereas what this does is, if you're using a very simple V-mount battery, let me go grab a battery actually. Stay with me. I'm gonna step out of the shot for a sec. Okay. All right. So this battery is one of the first ones I got. It's from D&O Lighting. It's a great battery. It's reliable. It's pretty affordable. And it's obviously massive. It's 190 watt hours. But the only thing on it is just one D-tap out, which is definitely not enough to power all of your stuff. So I think I have auto ISO on. I just realized, like, stepping out of the shot, my brightness just went up. So that's not good. Got to check what's going on with that. But only one port out on the battery, so not super versatile. So when you're using something like a simple battery like this, you need a base plate like this. So you can put it on, and now the battery is powering all of these ports, so you can plug in all of your accessories. However, if you're using a more updated V-mount battery like this one from FX Lion, it's the Nano, and you can see just how much smaller this is, I mean, it's insane. Obviously, the battery life is nowhere near as much. This is only 50 watt hours. This is 190. So this is almost 4 times more. But depending on what you're shooting, you probably don't need this much power or this much, day of life battery here. So something like this, lighter, much smaller for your rig, but it's got a bunch of ports on the top. So I'll try and show that to you guys. It's got just a normal USB-A, USB-C, so you can do USB PD or power distribution, which most of these newer cameras take that. Like the FX3, the Sony a7S III, the Fujifilm X-T4, they all take USB-C PD. And this has enough power output to actually power the camera. So that's great. And then it has a micro USB as well. And then on the side, you have a standard D-tap. So any accessories you can plug in here, or you can use a D-tap splitter, which is very basic. Just throw your battery on here, just like that. And now I've got 4 more places to split out and plug in accessories. And it's just a lot lighter and smaller than using this full system. So you can see just the difference there of what you're getting. So I've really been loving this. Almost all the rigs that I've been building and showing you guys on the channel have been using this little V-mount hinge on the back and then just throwing this battery on. And if I need the extra D-tap, then I have this. And it just has a little 1/4-20 screw on it. So I can screw this anywhere that there's an extra 1/4-20 on my rig, like on the side of this cage. And then I have all those D-tap ports available to me right on the side of the cage. So yeah, you can see it's just really slim. You can get this out of the way if you need to swing open your screen. Depending on what camera you have, you might want to do that. And then you could actually swing this back into place and have your screen open the whole time, but have your battery more compact up against the rig, which kind of depends on how you want to run it. But it's just so easy to move this, get it where you want, tighten it down. So been loving that. I think that's one of the most essential parts of the rig is how you're powering your camera. Because if you're doing video production like I am, if you're like me, you need a lot of battery life. And no matter how good your camera is, the little batteries in them, even if they last about an hour, typically isn't good enough, especially when you have a bunch of accessories you're trying to power as well off of one battery. You need a larger battery solution. So that's definitely the next thing that I have going. So let me know what questions you guys have so far. I want to get into the first rig review so that anyone that has joined already can see their rig. Let me know down in the chat below if this is your rig and that sort of thing. I would love to know. And again, wherever you're joining me from, chat it down below. Let me know. I'm not seeing anywhere that anyone's from. I'd love to know. I'm in Arizona in the US, and it'd be great to know where you guys are too. So, all right, let me pull this up. I'm going to pull up the first rig here. All right, hopefully you guys can see this. And this is submitted from Nature Music Video on Instagram. And let's make sure this is working right here. Yeah, I think so. So, Nature Music Video on Instagram. And this looks like, here we go. Looks like an A7S III. I'm not exactly sure. It might be an A7, maybe an A7R. But it looks like an A7S 2 or 3 to me, or 3, excuse me, not the 2. But I'm loving this lens on there, huge wildlife lens. I mean, I'm taking from the Nature Music Video that you do a lot of like wildlife video and that sort of thing. So it looks like a Sony like 70 to 300. I'm not positive, but it looks very close to that. And then I see you've thrown a manual ring on there. Let me, oh, hey, what's up? Adventure Productions, what's up in the chat? Hey, man, thank you for sending this over. Let me see if I can switch my color here, and I'll actually see if I can draw on here. All right, so, yeah, you've got a great, let's see. Here we go. Oh, it's black. Can't see it. Okay, so I see you've got the Tilta Nucleus Nano on there for pulling your autofocus, and then the wheel down here on the tripod, which is cool. I haven't seen a lot of guys do that, but I could see how if you're pretty stationary, then it'd be really easy to just move where you are and keep your hand down kind of low instead of like, expending all the energy to keep your hand up higher on the camera, and maybe even add some shake or something if you mounted it to the camera as well. So that's probably because you're using such a long lens. Well, I imagine that's kind of helps with vibration. And then it looks like you've got the SmallRig. Let's see, it's their mini matte box. That's what it looks like to me. I just did a review on it, so I'm pretty sure it's the exact same one. Great little matte box. I love how you can use, circular polarizers with it, circular ND filters, or, you can obviously put in the full 4x5.65 filters in there if you want to. So yeah, great looking rig. Let's take a look at the other picture here. Oops, accidentally drew on this layer. Let's see. Oops, my bad. My Photoshop is acting crazy now that I'm trying to do anything. Okay, so you've got a microphone on here, which looks nice, so you can just get that basic nature sound. I don't know exactly what you're filming exactly, but if you're out in nature, you could add that easily into your videos. I think that's great. Looks like you're running the Small HD Focus 5. I have the same one. Absolutely love it. And you've got the hood on there. Looks like the one that comes with the SmallRig cage, which I see you've got on there. So great. Makes it so much easier to see these screens. I know these screens are like 800 nits, I believe. So they're not the brightest screens ever, but once you have the hood on there, it makes it so much easier to see out in bright daylight. So I think that's a really good choice. And let's see what else you got going here. So, okay, we're getting kind of a low shot. I can see you've got your tripod legs really kind of spread out, got a super stable shot. I love that. And I see in the chat now you're saying that this was your that was my older rig. Okay, gotcha, very nice. So yeah, I mean, if you have any updated pictures of a newer rig or whatever, definitely shoot it my way, and we'll review it later in the live stream. But yeah, this looks great. I love it. These Manfrotto tripods are really nice. Good standard head on there. So it looks like a great setup, man. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really, really awesome to see what you guys are doing. So let's go back into the main camera here. So gonna just catch up with the chat. I think my computer was kind of behind, and now I'm seeing all of your guys' chats. So what's up, Jeremy Alisandrados? I'm sorry, I always mess up everyone's names, but what's up from Sydney? It says 1 p.m. What's up, Greg Jones? Welcome back, man. He says, still in California. It's always good to have you in the live streams, Greg. 08 Visual Design. Hello from Germany. How's it going? RG Visuals in the Netherlands. I love it. Getting the European representation here. Nat Jones says he's looking to build a rig for A7S III. Hello from Chicago. What's up, Nat? Yeah, man, I have a couple videos on rigging out the Sony A7S III and the Sony FX3, and they're very similar in terms of the way that you can rig them out, the parts you can use. So definitely check those out on the channel if you haven't already seen them for the A7S III and the FX3. And if you have any questions, definitely hit me up. I'm always I try to get to any questions that people send me on Instagram and that sort of thing. So definitely can send me that. Hopefully I can get to that. Grinbet Media says, do you know Fidu smart V-mount batteries? I've never used those before. There are a ton of Chinese companies coming out with batteries, like this little FX Lion one. There's just so many companies, and I reviewed some other one on the channel. I think it was called Yin Chem, and those were really nice, small, compact batteries like this. I've been a big fan of these. I think it's called Bebop. Yeah, I think it's Bebop that also does small batteries like this, very compact. And yeah, I'm just really a big fan of them, but I'm not familiar with that exact company. Definitely just check out their reviews on Amazon and that sort of thing and see what people are saying about them. That's typically how I buy my gear. I just look on Amazon, see how the reviews are, see if anyone else on YouTube has reviewed it. All right. Yeah, Chris, what's up? He's saying, I love SmallRig. What's up, Heron Tashiz? The Technopilot says, Don't forget that the PD port also critically allows charging. It actually charges quicker over a PD than via V-mount charger in my experience. Yeah, no, great point there. The PD out on these things can be really high. Like the actual, I believe it's voltage. I'm not really good with the electrician stuff like voltage, wattage, that sort of thing. But the voltage, I believe is like 12 to 18 volts, something like that on the USB-C out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's usually where it's at, like 12 to 18, maybe as high as 20, depends on the battery. But that does really good at charging things quickly, like you said, and it definitely charges your camera and the battery inside, depending on which model you have. So I love that. 08 Visual Design, what's up, says just send it over. Colton Photography says, if you want a slimmer plate though, I would highly recommend Swit's microplate. It's the size of the Shape full play batteries and has both USB D-tap and 7.4 volt out. Cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen Swit's microplate, but I would like to see that. I know Swit makes really nice batteries. I've used those on some shoots. I don't own any personally, but I'll have to check out their micro V-mount battery plate, because I definitely like as I'm building rigs, I know a lot of people build theirs out bigger and bigger. I find that I'm building mine smaller and smaller and more compact and lighter so that I can handheld them longer. So, all right. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Jeremy says, sent you a pretty interesting setup. Okay, yeah, I've got yours here, man. Let me pull it up. All right. And guys, if you haven't sent your rig yet, a picture of your rig, whatever it is, it could be a gimbal rig setup, definitely send it to me on Instagram at Chadwin right now. I have the chat pulled up here, so I'll pull in your picture. So definitely send it over. Don't worry, we've got time. So, all right, let's hop into Photoshop now. And yeah, this rig is from Jeremy. Let's see if I can zoom in on it here. All right. And he did send some comments. Says it's a Pocket 4K. So got the SmallRig mini matte box on there. Let me see if I can draw on here. Okay, here we go. So yeah, we got the SmallRig mini matte box. It looks like a Sigma 18 to 35. Oh no, it's a Tamron 24 to 70. Thank you for commenting what it is too with that so I could see. But let's see, you got the, looks like a Rode microphone on there. I'm checking your comments to just double check, make sure I don't mislead people, but it's over here on the side. Yeah, Rode Video Micro Pro. Looks like you have top handle, looks like one of the quick release Nato. And then you've got a wooden grip, some rails on there. Not sure what you're doing with the rails, but it doesn't look like the matte box is mounted to them. Maybe in the back you're using it for something. Let's check that out. So, okay, here's the back, or not the back, the other side. Now I can see it's Tamron with the little gold ring here. Run into the SSD, that's great. And then, okay, so I see what you're doing. So you've got the 15 millimeter rods and it's mounted for your V-mount battery. So that's why I've got it. So even these are a little long if you don't run, let me check the other picture. Yeah, I don't see a follow focus or anything. So if you're not running a follow focus, you could probably even use shorter 15 millimeter rods. Like maybe I can't tell if these are the foot long ones or not, but you could probably get away with even like 4 or 6 inch ones if you only need it to go to the back V-mount battery. And then, yeah, it looks like you're running an Atomos Ninja 5 or Ninja V, as I like to say. And it looks like you're using the power adapter as well. So you can just plug right into the battery bank and get full battery life. So I love that. I love the Pocket 4K, the 6K. Those are such good cameras. Great image right out of them. I love the B-RAW. So yeah, this looks awesome. Looks like you've got the microphone shotgun mounted right on top of your little grip. So you can get some nice, audio on site if you're just trying to pick up some room audio and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think that looks good. Good looking rig. Nothing too complicated like that I would say, like unnecessary or anything like that. And what I do love, I'm seeing this more and more from guys online, is that they're mounting their monitors on the front of the top handle. So it keeps it at a really nice low center of gravity. Let me see if I can zoom in for you guys. He's got it mounted right to the front of the top handle. And that's what I do. I love doing that. Let me see if I can find. I think I have the exact same top handle. Let's see. It's not this one. Not this one. Hold on. Okay, doesn't really matter, but yeah, this is a great looking rig, man. I love it. Really good looking stuff. I'm sure you get great footage with that. So I will show you guys. This is a similar top handle. I can't find the exact one. It might be floating around here somewhere, but let me see. So with this sort of top handle, it has area locating pins in the front. Let's see if it'll actually focus on it. There we go. So it's got area locating pins so that you can mount a little monitor mount. So let me find my little monitor mount in here. Just in this bucket of stuff. Actually, yeah, it's in here. My gear is kind of all over the place right now. So let's see. Okay, so here we go. Here is, sorry, I'm trying to get the camera to focus on it. Here is a SmallRig monitor mount, and it uses the little airy pins, locating pins. You can see that here. So it goes right into the front of your top handle, and SmallRig makes a bunch of top handles that have this in the front, but I love this because now this is basically operating as one piece, and I have it really tightened. So let me see if I can loosen this up a bit. Actually, I think I put it on upside down. That's why. Hold on, bear with me. So there we go. So this is just honestly the best way to mount a monitor in my opinion, because I see a lot of guys use cold shoe mounts and that sort of thing, but cold shoe mounts tend to slip, especially once you get a heavy battery on there, like a Sony NPF battery, one of the larger ones. Your monitor could slip right off the top of your camera or your rig. So I love this because it becomes like one little piece, and you can just quickly throw your monitor on top. So let me grab that. So I've got the Ninja V here, and I'm just going to throw this right onto this top handle. And it's funny rigging this out, you know, kind of on a live stream. I don't think I've ever actually like fully rigged a camera on a live stream. I'm sure you guys have seen some of my videos on the channel of rigging cameras, but it's always like edited down, and I get rid of the parts where I'm actually like screwing things together because it's just, you know, it's boring to watch. So here we go. So there's our top handle with the monitor right in front. And I just think that is so sleek. And then of course you can bend it and adjust the monitor wherever you want. And this is so tight, this little hinge, I have it tightened so much down that it'll stay wherever. And I don't have to worry about it, you know, like moving on its own when I don't want it to. So I absolutely love this sort of setup, and I highly, highly recommend it. The top handle monitor mount. So let me hop back in the chat here, see what's going on, see if I'm missing anything. If you guys have any rigs that you want me to review, definitely send them. I'm checking the live chat right now just on Instagram, see if any new ones came in. Here we go. Got a couple. So let me, now there's just gear all over my desk. Let me pull these up. So give me just a sec. And oh, sweet. This looks awesome. So a couple really cool rigs coming in. If you just sent your rig in, or if you sent it in a couple minutes ago, I'm just getting to it right now. So hang out. This is going to be good. I see some really cool stuff coming in here. So give me just a sec. Let's get these opened up. And again, if you're just joining the live stream now, it's at Chadwin on Instagram. So that way you can actually submit yours. All right. Here we go. So it takes a sec just to get them kind of organized inside of Photoshop here. All right. Ooh, ton of pictures. Let me try and wow. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can bring this all together here. Thank you guys, everyone for submitting. I'm gonna pull a couple photos. Some of you guys send like just so many great pictures, 10 photos. Can't get to every single photo, but I'm going to try to get to as many as I can from the ones that you send. So I appreciate that. All right. And if you guys are enjoying this live stream while I'm getting these last pictures or these next pictures loaded in, make sure that you hit like and subscribe and everything like that, because I really want to keep making these videos for you guys, keep doing these live streams, and I just want to make sure the YouTube algorithm knows that people are enjoying the videos. So here we go. Let's see. All right. Got a couple new ones lined up here. All right, let's get right into this one. Okay, here we go. So this one, let me double check. Okay, this one is coming from Sean Colton, and he sent me a ton of really great pictures of it. So I'm going to try to get to as many of them as I can. Thank you, Sean, for sending this over, and hopefully you guys can see here on the live stream what's going on. So zoom in a little bit, and let's see. I think he sent which camera it is. Okay, it's for the BGH1, and it's using a custom-made VBR Panasonic battery to V-mount. Okay, sick. And he's got a couple comments on what's going on there. So for the BG1, I haven't seen a lot of people with this camera, so that's really exciting. Let me see. It's got a couple angles here. I'm trying to get the other angle in here. You guys can see it. There we go. That's sick. That looks so cool. So the BG1, if you guys aren't familiar, is it's Panasonic's more like square kind of cube camera. I feel like it's their answer to like the Red Komodo or like the Z-Cam, that sort of thing. So said he's using kind of a custom V-mount plate on the back, huge battery back there. Let's see if I can see his comments to make sure I tell you what the right things are. All right. Okay, so he's using a Metabones to adapt his lens and Portkeys monitor, which that's cool. Does the Portkeys monitor, let me know, man, does the Portkeys monitor actually let you control the camera from it? I know with the Blackmagic, when I was using the Portkeys with my Blackmagic, I could actually change settings, start and stop record, and that sort of thing. I would love to know if it allows you to actually change any settings or not. That'd be definitely interesting. Yeah, this looks like a cool top handle. Let me see. So you got a Tilta, going with the Tilta cage, Tilta top handle. Yeah, Tilta makes some really great looking stuff. It always has just really good design aesthetics. So I'm liking the look of this. And then, yeah, you've got the Axoon little wireless transmitter here. So you can, send that out to a focus puller, director's monitor, that sort of thing. And then looks like you're using the Tilta Mirage as well. I think this is the first rig I've seen that someone has sent to me with the Tilta Mirage. So yeah, you are. Okay, just looking at your comment there. So that's awesome. How have you been liking it? I would love to get my hands on a Tilta Mirage and see how it is, having that variable ND filter that you can change with a motor completely wirelessly. I think that's really cool. Looks great. Good looking rig. Got a nice side handle, little grip here. It looks like you might be able to start and stop recording with this as well. Let me know. Great rig. Got the little Rode wireless mic there. So, obviously great lavalier. Let's see if I can see any other angles here. Okay, we saw this angle, the Nucleus Nano on there. Here we go. So we've got the gears added to it. I can see you got them both on the focus and on your zoom. Okay, nice. Very nice. And then looks like you've got it on top of, looks like a Manfrotto tripod. Looks like one of those versions. Can't say for sure, but it's a great looking rig. I'm also noticing I don't really see cables anywhere. It's very limited amount of cables. So that's awesome that you have, pretty good cable management. It's very clean. Sometimes they're just everywhere. It looks like you've got just an HDMI and, a power cable, one for the mic. Looks like you've got an SDI running into the camera, or maybe that's for your time code. But yeah, that looks great. Really clean looking rig, man. Thank you so much for sending that. Oh, okay. Thanks. Yeah, Sean's texting or messaging me right now on Instagram saying that it does have start and stop capabilities with the side handle. So that's awesome. Which one is that? I can't tell. Is that the Portkeys side handle? I know they make a side handle with the start and stop on it. is at port keys as well, I'd love to know. Let me know. So yeah, great looking rig, dude. Thank you so much for sharing that. It looks awesome. So let me get the next one ready here. And really appreciate you guys hanging out, checking out everyone's rigs. It's fun to kind of just look at other people's gear, the way they set things up, and support each other. So, let guys in the comments, let people know what you like about their rigs and that sort of thing. I think it's really fun to see. So, all right. See, Adventure Production saying he's got a Pro Fluid Motion on, I think, on his tripod. All right. Sweet. Okay, so we've got another submission here. This one is from Ole, O-L-E, on Instagram. So pull that up. Here we go. All right, and I just have his notes here in the chat. Thank you guys for setting this. I love it when people break down what's on there because sometimes it's hard to tell from the pictures, but looks like he's running a Canon C200, which is great. I don't see a lot of guys, on my channel with different cinema cameras, so it's really fun to see, a little bit higher end cinema camera here and there. So I haven't actually used the C200. I've used the C300 and the C500 a lot, and I really like them. And I know it's pretty similar in design. They're just, C500 is full frame, but C200, great camera with everything that I've seen. So, all right, let's do a breakdown of what we got on here. So, looks like you're running probably a Ninja V. Can't tell from this angle, but let me double check your notes. It's Shinobi. Okay, cool. So it's running a Shinobi SDI, which is great for the C200. I can see you got your SDI out here. So for the Shinobi, and yeah, if you don't need external recording, the Shinobi is perfect. If you don't, let me just say this for anyone watching and they're trying to decide whether or not they need the Ninja V, which I have here. You really only need something like the Ninja V if you're going to throw an SSD on the back and you want to do external recording in ProRes. If your camera does ProRes internally, you probably don't need this. There's a couple advantages to having it, but the Shinobi, which looks exactly the same, 5-inch, just doesn't have the recorder built into it, and it's like $300 cheaper, I believe, $200 or $300 cheaper. So I think that's great. Then he's got a Teradek on here, so you can do wireless transmitting, and I've been seeing this actually a lot recently with the Teradek, the shorter, smaller antennas. Let me know, how does that work for you? Does it transmit pretty well, and what's the distance? Is that a 500-foot transmitter or what? Love to see that. Yeah, Colton Photography saying, seems like this one is using the new Teradek 750 4K LT. Yeah, let us know. I'm looking at his comment right now to see. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see exactly which one it is in his comment here, but got a huge battery on the back. Looks like 90 watt hours to power everything. And then, man, there's just so much going on here. Great 15 millimeter rod setup, and actually has got a lot of things mounted to it. So yeah, he's saying it's the 750 LT. So yeah, Colton, you're right. That's exactly what he's using. So I'm assuming 750 means it goes 750 feet, which is really great range. You're typically not that far away, with a transmitter. So that's great. It's going to be really solid. And yeah, it looks like you're running the Tilta Nucleus M motors. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I'm just kind of looking back at your notes here to make sure, but it looks like the Nucleus M to me, which are, great. They're more powerful than the Nucleus N. And so when you're using bigger lenses like this Laowa, it looks like the 25 to 100. Yeah, 25 to 100 T 2.9 zoom lens. You want that extra power. A lot of people wonder which follow focus should I get, and I hear that a lot. And the Nucleus M, I would say I would only get those if you have larger cinema lenses and you need the extra oomph to actually turn the focus wheel on your camera. Otherwise, the Nucleus N does a great job. Even on some larger cinema lenses, I've used them on the Canon Cine lenses, used them on the, some anamorphic lenses from, I'm drawing a blank right now, but some anamorphic lenses, and they worked pretty well as on that. So let's see, he's got another angle here. See if we can zoom out a little bit. All right, so here's the other side of the rig. See if I can actually draw on this. All right, here we go. So yeah, it looks like, I think he said this was a bright tangerine matte box. Let me see. No, wooden camera universal matte box. Okay, so I can see it's got at least 2 slots, maybe even 3 slots available for putting in, you know, your full size ND filters. And you actually have it, you know, rail mounted here. I could see you've got a lens support as well. Let me zoom in here. Got a lens support for obviously the bigger, larger zoom lens. And then, you know, you've got the different motors on the other side mounted. So really taking advantage of the 15mm rods, and of course your battery plate on the back all mounted there. Oh wow, okay, so he's got dual V-mount batteries. I didn't notice that until this angle, so I love that. Which one is that? Let me see. I'm trying to look at your chat here. Let me know which plate you're using that's got the, oh, it's a wooden camera V-mount plate. Okay. Cool. So a couple wooden camera pieces on here. So that's sick. I love like being able to hot swap V-mount batteries like that. That's really cool. So one on each side, you're going to be running for a long time, a lot of battery life. And then I see you've got a cage, a bit of a cage on the C200, something on the top. So you can mount stuff, mount the top handle. And then looks like some bit of a rail system or cage here on the bottom of the camera. So yeah, this looks great. And you got it on a Satchler. I don't ever know how to say that. Satchler. Tripod. Yeah, so that looks awesome, dude. This is a great looking rig. You'll love to see it. Okay, so he just commented saying it's the Core SWX Shark Fin. That's the name of the battery plate. I'm just gonna throw that in the chat. Anyone that's interested in that, that's kind of cool. So yeah, great looking rig, dude. Thank you so much for sharing. And you know, I love to see these cine rigs when people submit them because they're really nice, very impressive. So love to see it, dude. Thank you so much for sharing that with everyone, guys. Let them know what things you like about his rig. So I'm gonna jump back in the chat here for a second, make sure I'm not missing anything. Let's see, 10A33 Matesh says, hey man, how long can a rig be? A rig can be as long as you need it to be. I mean, the one we just looked at is, like I can tell, is pretty long with, you know, the C200 with a long zoom lens on there, 2 batteries in the back. Like obviously that's one of the longer ones that I've seen, but I can tell he's probably mostly riding that on a tripod, like he's got it mounted, because hand holding something like that, especially with such a, you know, a zoomed in lens, would not be super easy to do and keep, you know, everything from super shaky. So it can be as long as you want. I typically try to keep it short if I'm going handheld. If I'm doing something like that, you know, and you're throwing a zoom lens on there and stuff, not a big deal. If it is longer and you're using the longer rails, I was talking about that earlier. So like here's a foot rails. I have 18-inch rails somewhere. I think they're in another box. I can't even fit them in this box. But so depending on what you're doing, you can make it longer, but I would say keep it as short as you can unless it has to be long. So hopefully that answers your question. All right. It looks like a couple more submissions are coming in. So if you have submitted a new camera rig photos, definitely stick around. I'm going to get to them. I see a couple coming in. So hang out for a second while I grab a couple pictures here. Okay. Sweet. Got a lot of photos. So I'm going to try and select just a handful to show some of the rigs here. A lot of different, a lot of pictures here. So I appreciate that. Guys, again, if you haven't submitted your rigs yet, do so right now. I'm still doing a bunch of rig reviews live on the stream. So, and hopefully you guys are getting something out of this. I know, you know, the title of this is like the basics of building a camera rig, and I've already gone over some of those at the beginning of this, but as more people submit their camera rigs, I definitely want to get to them as well. So it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag. So thank you guys all so much for participating. And if somehow you're watching this right now and you are not subscribed, what is going on? Make sure you guys are subscribed. I see, like, I love how people always do this, like now on videos are like, here's all the people watching that aren't subscribed. And it's like 90% not subscribed. So make sure you are. It's like that on my channel. It's like almost 80 to 90% of people watching aren't subscribed. So make sure you are. All right, so let's get the next rig pulled up. Let's see here. This one is from Jez, Jez on Instagram. So here we go. All right, Jez, thanks for submitting this. So it looks like he's got this on a jib arm or a crane, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, this looks awesome. Full entire thing here. Let me see your comments. See what length this is. Okay, so it's a 12-foot camera jib and has the Canon 90D on it with a 20mm lens and a Zhiyun Crane 2 with remote control on Pro Am USA. Pro Am USA 12-foot camera jib. Okay, cool. So running the Canon 90D with a really wide angle lens. It looks like this is for, a big event, a conference, maybe a church or something like that. I think that's great. So yeah, these kind of jib shots look so good. I mean, I've done a lot of events, and every time we have a jib, the whole production quality of our events and shoots just look 10 times better. So this is awesome. And I love that you just, have rigged this yourself, it looks like, so that you can throw on that crane. Yeah, the crane, Zhiyun Crane 2. It's a light gimbal. It's a light camera, but the shots are going to look amazing. You don't need a huge camera to put on the end of this. So I think that's really cool. Let's see. So here's a more zoomed in shot of the actual Canon 90D, and then the Crane 2. Yeah, super simple. How are you mounting it? Let me know the way that you're mounting the actual Crane 2 upside down onto this. I know that has like a 3/4 inch thread on the bottom. I've mounted mine on a monopod and kind of mimicked crane shots, but I would love to know the way that you actually have that mounted together. I'm gonna look at the other angle here. All right, so I can't see the camera, but I can see you've got some wireless control here, which is great. Let me see your comment. Using control cable on gimbal can control focus, iris, and ISO, and shutter and record status. Very cool. So this little control unit, is that one that comes, is that an accessory that Zhiyun actually makes and sells? I haven't seen that. So I'd love to know. I know obviously DJI makes their own little setup like this. You can remotely control it, but I haven't seen one quite like this from Zhiyun. So let me know. That'd be interesting to know. And then I can see you've obviously got an external monitor here. It looks like a 5-inch, maybe a 7-inch external monitor. Probably just running a long HDMI cable, 12-foot HDMI cable or whatever out to the camera. Yeah, this is great. I think this is solid. I love that you got just a couple little weights just sitting right in the middle, just hanging there. Hey, if you don't have to move it, that works. I mean, you could also throw a little sandbag right over this, like a little saddle them right over those legs, and sandbags will hold it down really nicely. And then you've got an extra battery, looks like, for probably the monitor. Yeah, this is a cool rig, man. It's refreshing to see all different kinds of rigs. I love seeing things like these jibs and cranes and things, because a lot of times I'm just seeing more of like handheld rigs or shoulder rigs. So it's fun to see something kind of fully built out like this. So great job, dude. Very cool rig. All right, so I'm gonna double check the chat here. It's hard to balance, and I'm kind of looking in Photoshop, and then I miss things in the chat, so I want to make sure I see what's going on with everyone. So let's see. All right, looks like some great conversation about some rigs, and all right. Okay, let's see. 08 Visual Design saying handheld actually works with an easy rig, of course. Yeah, so I think he's talking about one of the rigs that I was saying was pretty heavy, but yeah, if you're using an easy rig and you're actually hanging everything from above, it takes all the weight off of your arms and puts it more in your back and your hips, and then you can hold the rig for a lot longer. It's much less stressful and strenuous on your body. So yes, definitely agree with that. Let's see. 08 Visual Design saying it's about 19 to 20 inches long. I think he's talking about that camera rig with the Laowa lens on it. And that's about the length of it, I believe. That's what he's talking about. So No, Colton Photography is saying his was a 24-inch long rig. That was the longer one with that. Okay, so very cool. Yeah, obviously huge camera rigs. And I have a couple more different ones that have come in, and I'm about to get to it in just a second here. So stick around if you've submitted yours. It's coming up. Sam, I see yours here. I'm going to get to it in just a second. Now, before we get to that, I want to quickly show a couple more things with this little Canon M50 that we've been kind of rigging out as we go. So we've got the battery on the back. We've got the top handle, the monitor mount, and our Ninja V. And this, normally I would just throw right here on the top of the cage. But unfortunately, I took the NATO plate off. So I got to find that somewhere in this box. And when I do find it, I can actually rig this thing up, throw the top handle on. Okay, here we go. So here's a little piece of NATO rail, and it also has a 15mm rod adapter. And I'm just going to throw it right on top of the camera cage, and that way I can throw this top handle on. And the reason that I love using NATO rail, I'm a huge believer in NATO rail now. At first I was a little bit, weary of NATO rail, sometimes worried that it wasn't going to grip on tight enough and things might slip off, but that is not true. NATO rail works really well. It's super solid as long as you kind of clamp things down really firmly. So huge fan of it. Makes it so easy to rig and unrig your gear on site because you don't need any extra tools when you actually have the NATO rail already on your camera rig. Then it just slides on and off, and you can just tighten it down without using any screwdrivers or anything. So it's so nice to have. So getting this little piece added to the top so you can quickly take the top handle on and off, especially if you're breaking these things down into like a Pelican case or a camera bag. It's nice to be able to take that top handle off really easily without using any extra tools. So there we go. I've got the NATO rail on. Now I'm actually going to just slide this top handle into place. Let me make sure it's loose enough. All right. All right, there we go. So let me make sure you guys can see this. Okay, switch the camera back. So we've got the top handle on now, and it's fully just NATO rail mounted. Comes on and off really easy just with this little thumb screw, nothing extra to get this mounted. So I think that's looking great. That's a huge part of the rig. And I should probably grab a lens. I forgot to grab a lens for you guys. So give me a sec. And I'm about to get to a couple more rigs. I see, a few new submissions, but let me grab a lens really quick. Okay. All right, guys. Sorry, I try to prepare as much as I can and then forget some stuff. So I'm going to throw this Rokinon 16mm lens on here onto the Canon, and that way I've got something to build the rest of this rig on. And I'm just using a little adapter that goes from Canon EF to the Canon M mount, EOS M. I have no idea why they made an M mount. I don't know. It's weird. And then they have the the Canon EOS R mount and an M mount, both for mirrorless. I don't know. They do weird things sometimes, Canon does. So I don't know. All right. Let's see here. So what I want to get on here next is a little follow focus. So this is just a really simple one from SmallRig. It's their mini follow focus, I believe. I think it's $99 on Amazon. And truth be told, it's really solid. I've used a handful of different little hand crank ones like this. I mean, pretty much every company offers one now, but it's really versatile. It's easy to actually get it positioned where you want, and it's all really nice machined aluminum and metal. So super solid. It's got the little start and stop pins so you can set your different, hard stops when you're pulling focus. And it's just a single rail mount. So if you're running something lighter, maybe just one single rail, I could put one single rail here up on top. Let's see, there's a 4-inch rail around here somewhere. Yeah, a little piece like this. So if I wanted to, instead of doing it down there, I see a lot of guys do this now, and I love to do this as well. Just one little rail on the top if you don't need full 15 mil rod setup. And then you can swing this down from the top. And that's just really convenient way. And it keeps your rig light and small if you don't need those 15 mil rods. So now I can pull focus, as you can see, just from this. So I actually love this little accessory that adds, you know, just a little bit of NATO and a 15 mil rod to the top of the camera. Sometimes that's all I need. Now I can pull focus, and let me see if I can show you guys. Pull focus, and it's all off that top one. Don't need the bottom ones even, but I've got them there for other accessories if I need them. So I love having that. And then you can of course throw a matte box on the front. This is just the SmallRig mini matte box, and you can throw that on the front. I don't have the little adapter to clamp it to the front. I think it's in my Pelican, so I'm going to leave that off for now. But slowly building up this rig as we go, so that those of you that have joined to see, you know, some basics of building a rig, I'm getting to that. But let's get to the next rig submission. So give me a sec here, and I'm going to pull that up just from Instagram. So here we go. Okay, cool. So a lot of different great rigs. We're getting some good diversity today, because sometimes it's kind of all the same looking rigs, but this is cool. We're getting all different options. So let me see if I can pull this in. All right, here we go. And again, guys, I'll be hanging out, reviewing your submissions for as long as I can. So if you have submitted, and seeing that this is kind of low res, so let me make sure I'm getting the high res versions of these photos here. All right. Okay. Okay. Sorry if some of the resolution on some of these are bad. I'm pulling them off Instagram, and some reason they're downloading at like a really low image quality. I'm not sure why. So let me try one other thing here, see if I can get a better looking image. Ooh, yeah, the resolution's terrible. So stick with me for just a second here. See what's going on. I don't know why. If you guys know, a lot of times when I pull things off of Instagram, like these photos, they look really good, but this is just not looking good for some reason. So let me see what's going on. Okay, this is better. Here we go. All right. Much better. So I'd love to have these prepped for you guys in advance, but sometimes I can't, because the submissions just come right while we're working. So here we go. All right, this one looks good. Sorry, I know that takes forever. So, all right, this submission is from Sam Axtell, and I'm going to take a look at your comments here to see if you've got a couple things here. So he's rocking the DJI Ronin RS2, which is, you know, obviously super obvious because you can see that branding so big now. I love that they did that. But the Ronin like insignia just so big on the side of this gimbal now. It's like extremely obvious. And obviously that red color, dead giveaway that it's an RS2. So he's rocking an RS2 and then a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K with the ever so popular Sigma 18-35. I mean, if you have a Blackmagic and you don't own that lens, like, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, so it's just probably like the best all-around lens for that camera. And then he says he's rocking the Rode NTG5, which I can see here. Got a little shotgun kind of spring mount to reduce the shake and vibration. And then, being a full-size XLR, I'm sure you have an adapter to go to the mini XLR on the Blackmagic. So yeah, man, this is a good-looking rig. And it's a lot of weight, actually, on the gimbal. The Blackmagic itself is kind of an awkward shaped camera. I think everyone knows that. But you've managed to balance it on the Ronin, which I think is awesome. And you've put some kind of top heavy stuff, but I think you might be counterbalancing it. Seeing just the placement of your microphone being on the front right side, it feels like that's counterbalancing the heavy left side of the Blackmagic. So yeah, I bet that actually probably worked out nicely. I was thinking, man, I don't know if I'd put the mic out there, but I think that's probably working for you. So that's nice to see. And then, man, you've got some other angles here that I want to pull in. Just see if the resolution's good. There we go. All right, so here's another angle, and it looks like you're rocking the follow focus for the Ronin, the DJI that comes with it, and then you've got some focus rings on the Sigma 18-35. I think that's great. One single 15mm rod. Looks like it's the 4-inch version, and that works great. Super simple, and looks like a Tilta matte box there on the front. So I think this is a good rig. Keeps it, simple, stripped down. You don't need a ton when you're running on a gimbal. Obviously, if you get too much, it can be really heavy. But I think you have this balanced well. So I wonder how it does with tilting and that sort of thing, kind of the motor strength, but they're a lot stronger on this gimbal than on some other ones. So I imagine it can handle that kind of, front heavy weight there fine. So great looking rig, man. Love to see it. Let me check out the chat, see if I'm missing any of your guys' comments here. All right. Okay, going back to earlier, just want to mention this. Jeremy's saying that he sent the Zion controller in the Instagram chat. So I'm going to take a look at that. If you run Zhiyun Crane, I have the Zhiyun Crane 2S, and I haven't used that external controller with it before. I wonder if it works with the 2S as well. But yeah, it's great to know that that option is there if you run on Zhiyun and not Ronin. Let's see. Adventure Production saying, yep, I use Nato for every connection if I can. Heck yeah. I've fully converted to Nato rail everywhere that I possibly can. Side grips, top handles, anything that I can take on and off with Nato, the monitor. It's just so convenient, and you don't need those tools on set. And it's so quick to change between a gimbal or a shoulder rig. So really love to see that. I think that's awesome. So let's see what else is going on. 08 is saying, sorry, I got to drink some water. I'm just like talking too much. Since I got my C200, interestingly, stopped using Nato rails most of the time since my rig changed like every shoot. Okay, gotcha. So you're kind of just rigging it out differently every time. So it may not be as advantageous to have it set up kind of the same way every time. Let's see, Colton Photographer saying, yeah, personally, my favorite has been the area locating pin, but for my BG-H1 rig, due to the cage design, I'm using cold shoe, but with holes to crank down the mount. Gotcha. Yeah, so the area locating pins, I swear, are probably one of the most solid connections that they've ever made. Just being able to thumb tighten this and then the pins keep it from rotating, oh, it's killer. I love that mount. I think the area locating pins is my second favorite to Nato rail. Those two together, anything I can find in those mounts, I'm always going for. Those are like absolutely the best mounts, in my opinion. So yeah, I really love that. All right, there's a couple more rigs coming in here, and I just want to make sure that I hit all of them. Okay, very cool. Yeah, ton of rigs, couple rigs from some of you guys that already submitted. So let's see if I can pull those up. Okay, here we go. So, let's take a look at a couple other rigs. New submissions from some of these guys. It's fun to see. I mean, I rig out my cameras so differently depending on the shoot and what I need. So, hey, every rig is not going to look the same even from the same person. So, give me just a second to load in a couple more ones. I see some of you guys send me some new ones. So, let's load those in. All right. Here we go. So this is a new rig Looks like Ole, O-L-E. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Has sent this one. Here we go. So yeah, let me know which camera that is. He says this is some of my older rigs. And it looks like maybe a Sony a7S II. Can't say for sure, but it looks like an a7S II. Let me know, man, in the comments. And then it looks like you're rocking a Tilta cage. Looks like one of their Tilta cages. Full on matte box. Yeah, this looks good. Obviously, we've got a battery plate here in the back, also from Tilta, and it's running a BP battery. It looks like one of the Canon BP batteries. I'm not positive, but it looks like one of those. And then you're probably just converting it to power. Yeah, he says, yeah, it's the A7S II. So thank you for clarifying. I was like, it looks like an A7S II, can't say for sure. Yeah, this is a good looking rig. You know, some nice setup. It looks like it's a shoulder rig from this top angle because I see some grips down here. And then it looks like maybe a shoulder plate here. But yeah, it looks like a shoulder rig. And then let's take a look at this other one. Okay. Which gimbal is this? Is this the Ronin 2? I can't tell for sure. Let me know which this is. It kind of looks like a Ronin 2, but I'm not positive from this angle. So looking good. Got a nice little top handle so you can hold the entire ring there. Small matte box clamping onto the front. Keep it light. Very cool. And then it looks like an Atomos Shinobi with an SDI input for the camera. So yeah, it's the Ronin 2. Thanks, man, for the clarification. Yeah, this looks great. Great looking rig. The Ronin 2 is really nice. I know it can hold a ton of weight on it. I've used it a little bit. I don't own one personally. It's pretty expensive. I think it's $4,000, somewhere in that range, depending on how you rig it out, like $4 to $5 grand. So it's a pretty expensive rig, but it can hold really heavy cameras. So yeah, this is a good, clean looking rig. Simple, just got a monitor on there, battery supply, and a matte box. It looks awesome. So easy setup. So I love to see that. Yeah, man, thank you guys all so much. Everyone that's submitted rigs so far. And I hope I got to everyone. If I haven't got to your rig, comment below. Just throw it in the chat. I think I've got to everyone's that has submitted a camera rig. So make sure, if I haven't, you leave a comment. And like I said, if you guys have been enjoying this, you know, make sure you hit like, make sure you're subscribed, everything like that. Definitely helps out. So I'm going to jump in the chat here for a second, make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see here. Okay, this is going back to one of the earlier rigs. Comment here. Let me see if I kind of just closed some of the Photoshop files here because they were getting a bunch in a row. But going back to an early rig, Sam Maxwell saying the mic was mainly out there because I wanted to remove the full cage to reduce weight. I managed to mount the plate on the Viltrox speed booster to help with the front heaviness. Okay, gotcha. So that was the gimbal setup where you had the microphone out on top of the matte box in the front. And it was because there wasn't another good place to mount it, it sounds like. But yeah, sounds like you're able to balance it fine. So I think that's good. Let's see. No Flavor Imaging, what's up? It says, do you like the Cam TV batteries? I should go for the ones on the back of the camera you just showed. Or should I go for the back of the ones? I haven't personally used the Cam TV ones, but I've seen them online. They look fine. Cam TV makes kind of a lot of generic stuff. I think I'm not sure where they're based, but I think it's kind of a Chinese company, honestly, that just makes generic whatever, parts, pieces, batteries, that sort of thing. Kind of like this D&O battery. It's very basic. It's standard. There's nothing crazy about it. Not a lot of extra tech built into it. So that's why I personally like going with something like this FX Lion, where there is more ports built into it. You get the USB-C PD, and it's lighter and more compact. And then it does have a little monitor, a little display on there, so you can see your actual battery life and everything like that. Your power output, everything. So it's nice to have a little display like that. Some of these cheaper V-mount batteries don't have anything to indicate, or they have a little light up LED like this that just tells you how much power you have left. But as I've been going along and building more rigs, I've been trying to find batteries that have a little bit more smart tech built into them. That's kind of what I would recommend. Something compact with a little bit more tech and ports built into them, if you can. All right, so hopefully that answered your question. Andy, sorry, I'm going to mess this up, but Andy Matacarena says, do you like the Polar Pro Basecamp or the Tilta Mirage with the VND? So I'm using the Polar Pro Basecamp. Somewhere around here. Let me find it. Okay. Here we go. So Polar Pro Basecamp is my go-to, and it's kind of been, in my opinion, the best matte box I've ever used, because it can clamp onto the front and it can just switch between any lens really quickly. You don't have to throw it on rails if you don't want to. A lot of the newer ones do the same thing. They clamp on the front, and that's really convenient. But what I love about the Polar Pro Basecamp is that VND that you were talking about built right into it. So can easily darken the image, brighten it up just with this little wheel on the top. A lot of people don't know that, but it's just a circular polarizer, and I just spin the wheel just like on the Peter McKinnon variable ND filter. This is essentially like the big brother to that. It's the exact same technology. You know, I've worked with the guys over at Polar Pro a lot, and it's the exact same technology. It's just in a larger glass piece. You do have to buy their proprietary filters. So if you want to just use your own 4x4 filters or 4x5.65 filters, they will not fit. You must buy the Polar Pro ones, which, you know, can suck because you can't use all your different own ones. But I will tell you, this is really high quality glass. I don't get really any extra color cast with this that's noticeable to me. And it comes in this really nice metal frame. So you never actually have to really touch the glass and put fingerprints all over it. It's really easy to take them in and out. Whereas with almost every other filter, you're going to be touching the glass. So in comparison to the Mirage from Tilta, I haven't used it yet. If you just joined the live stream, someone earlier on their rig had a Tilta Mirage. It's super nice that it's motorized. You can control it actually with another little focus motor if you want to. If you're running something remotely like a car rig or something, I think it's nice to have that remote ability. If you're not, it's just as simple as spinning the wheel on the top to change it. So it's not totally necessary. But yeah, I think this is really great. The Tilta Mirage, I need to get my hands on it and do an actual like full breakdown, test it out, use it on a shoot to give a better opinion. I think either of them could be great. So let's see what Colton is saying. Saying, for information, the nice advantage of the Mirage is it doesn't get the X cross as easily. Okay, yeah, good call out there. So yeah, if you guys are familiar with, you know, variable ND filters, when you're using a circular polarizer, when you get to the darker end, it gets that weird kind of, that X starts to come into it. And with the Polar Pro Basecamp, if you go to the absolute darkest edge, it could kind of do that. I don't notice the X as much, but what it actually does is it turns blue. So like the image turns kind of basically a wash of blue, and you can just tell, okay, I've gone too far. And that's because there's no hard stops built into it. So the circular polarizer just spins eternally. There's no hard stops. And I'm thinking on the Tilta Mirage that they built it in so there's hard stops. Let me know, Colton, does it have hard stops that, keeps it from spinning all the way around? The Peter McKinnon variable ND filter does have those hard stops, and a bunch of the new ones like the Freewell variable ND filters have hard stops built in, but for whatever reason, the way they designed this, it doesn't have those built in to stop that. So let's see, Colton saying the Mirage is also smaller. Yeah, what I've seen, it is smaller. It looks more like it's about the size of the SmallRig mini matte box. That's what it looks like to me. And this is a great size. I really like this for gimbal use because it is just so much smaller. But you could still rock this on a gimbal if you want to, and that's because this entire front piece comes off. I'll show you really quickly the the matte box on the front here, just this little piece comes off. So if you don't need that and you just need the actual ND filters, you can tell it does get a lot smaller in its footprint. So yeah, but yeah, I think the Mirage overall is even smaller than this still. So good to know. I love having options. I bet it's really nice. I haven't used it yet, but Tilta makes obviously really high end stuff. So let's see. 08 Visual is saying that he picked up a used Alexa SXT, but he's going to miss his Canon C200. Yeah, so obviously some great cinema cameras there. I love to see that. I would love to shoot on an area. Haven't been able to shoot on an area yet. That's one camera that I'm still like, it's on my bucket list to shoot on. Shot on obviously on all different Canons and Sonys and Reds, but haven't shot it on an area yet, so that would be fun. All right, Colton is saying in relation to the variable ND filter on the Mirage, he's saying it has full hard stops. So you're never going to get that X if it just full hard stops, which I wish that the Polar Pro Basecamp had that built into it. Maybe in like a V3, because they're already on the V2, they'll add the hard stops. That would be nice to see. Real quick, Andy is saying, speaking of gimbals, I'm looking into a Moza Air 2 or Weebill S here next week. Okay, so it depends on what you want to do. I would say that the Moza Air 2 is a perfectly good gimbal. It's going to give you enough power for most of your cameras. Same with the Weebill S is obviously a little bit smaller, doesn't have quite as much power, depending on which one. There's a few versions, but what I don't like about the Weebill S and the Crane 3S, I believe it is the way like the gimbal kind of has like that outcrop, that weird handle that sticks out the back. I know some people like that, like the gimbal goes down and then there's, I don't know how to explain it, that weird L-shaped kind of thing that comes out the back so you can hold it with two hands. I don't like that as much. I personally like holding my gimbal just like this as a single grip, but some people might like that style. It's just not my favorite, so I'd go more with the single grip if I were you, or the Ronin RSC2, I believe it is. I might go with that. The price is a little bit higher than with the Moza Air and the Zion Weebill and that sort of thing, but the Ronin RSC2, I think, is what I would go with. All right. Okay, sweet. So let me show you guys this picture for size comparison. So give me just a second here of the different matte boxes we were just talking about. So pull this up in Photoshop. Thank you for sending this, dude. It's nice, good resource. So here we go. So difference in size between the Polar Pro Basecamp and the Tilta Mirage. So obviously, yeah, this is just definitely quite a bit longer, and you can tell it's taller as well. So a little bit of a size difference there. It's not insane, but it's definitely there, especially if you're running on a gimbal. You know, having the smaller size of the Mirage, I can definitely see the advantage of that. It's enough smaller on a gimbal to be like, okay, that makes a difference. So that's really nice to see. Thank you for sharing that. Definitely makes it easy to see the difference in sizes there. So very cool. That's why I love this community. It's like, hey, I haven't used it, I haven't seen it, but here's what I can expect. And then, you know, you guys pop in, you're like, oh yeah, been there, done that. Here's exactly what it is. So thank you so much. Appreciate that, man. Awesome to see. So a couple more questions. I know we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes now. I appreciate everyone that's here. We'll be wrapping up shortly, but let me answer a couple more questions. And 69 Hot Rod 77 says, what's a good free editing program? Well, that depends on what kind of computer you're using. If you're using Apple and you want a free system, honestly, I would go with iMovie. That's where I first started when I switched to Apple, was I just started editing on iMovie. And then when I needed something much more robust and capable, I switched to Final Cut Pro. And I'm just like the absolute fastest in Final Cut Pro. And I use DaVinci Resolve as well, and don't really edit in Premiere very much. So yeah, that's what I would do. I'd do iMovie. And then if you aren't, oh man, there's a bunch of random editors out there. I know there's other ones for Windows that are free editors. I'm trying to think. I think Filmora has a free edition, and you can pay for more capabilities to the editor. But what am I smoking here? DaVinci Resolve. Sorry. Go with DaVinci Resolve. It works on any computer. It's completely free. Do DaVinci Resolve if you need a free editor. It has really good color grading tools built into it. It has a lot of really good tools built into it. Go with DaVinci Resolve if you need something free. It's going to work on any platform. It's a little bit more complicated to learn than something like Final Cut or iMovie, obviously, but it's a great program for completely free. There is a paid studio version, but you probably don't need it, honestly. Let's see. 08 Visual saying, if you come to Germany one day, hit me up so we can arrange a shoot with an Arri. Dude, heck yeah. I was just talking with my wife. We want to go to Norway. Yeah, she lived there for like a year and a half. So I'm like, dang, if I can get over to Europe, Norway's not too far from Germany, right? Just another little plane flight away, and then we'll hook up, shoot on an Arri. Freaking in Germany, it's gorgeous. So go to Neuschwanstein. I want to go to that castle so bad. Okay, going down a tangent. So let's see. All right. Oh, okay. I think I might have messed up. So they're saying that the matte boxes we were looking at earlier was the Mirage and the Tilta Mini beneath. So let me go back to that. You guys can see. I was thinking it was the Polar Pro, but let me show you guys that again and make sure we clear that up. So I've got the Mirage on the top and then the Tilta Mini beneath. So a Polar Pro is probably even just, this much bigger than the Mirage compared to the Tilta. So sorry, I was saying the wrong thing. Thank you for clarifying that. So good to know. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Colton's saying, yeah, learn Resolve if you can. Definitely. It's definitely an industry standard, especially in the color grading world. Like, absolutely. Yeah, so I think we've hit them all. I'm going to double check Instagram, make sure there's no new submissions. I always feel bad if someone submits something and then it just ends. Let me double check here. Okay, I do see a couple. Okay, hold on a sec. Jay and Andy both have submitted some different rigs here. So if you guys are still on, hang out. I'm gonna get you rigs in. I see a whole bunch of pictures here, a bunch of different angles. So let me pull a couple off. See if we can take a look at these. All right. Okay, here we go. Couple more rigs. Yeah, I always want to make sure I'm not missing anyone's rigs. So just hang out for a second and we will get to yours. Here we go. Man, and you guys do such creative things. It's always fun to see like rigs and things that I just haven't seen other people do. So very cool. Okay, let's see. Okay. It's weird because I'll download an image from Instagram and it's just like as fuzzy and blurry and like low res as humanly possible. And then I'll do it again and it's clean and clear from a different image. Just doesn't make sense. Like, I mean, like a different way to download it and it looks nice and clean. So here we go. Ooh, still not good. Okay. Hold on just a sec. They're so pixelated. I can't see anything. So give me just a sec. I'm gonna get this right here. There we go. All right. And one more. Okay. Yeah, it's a little better. All right. Here we go. So let's take a look at this one. This one's from Jay. And let me take a look at his comments here. So it's for the A7R2, the Sony A7R2. All right. So I could see you've got the port keys on there. Rocking that eye loop, which is nice to be able to see your image when you're doing a shoulder rig setup, which I can tell obviously you've got shoulder pad here. Foca DP500 matte box. That was the first matte box. That's not true. That was one of the first matte boxes I ever bought. Really solid matte box. Easy to throw a couple ND filters in there. Take a look at your comments. Make sure I'm not missing anything. See. Okay. Sweet. So got, obviously a monitor setup on here. Says he's getting an Atomos monitor soon. Obviously got a huge, good battery on the back, tons of battery life, and the battery plate. Which one is that? Is that a Tilta battery plate? Can't tell which one he's using. Saying he's getting a compact V-mount battery soon. Yeah, dude, this looks good. And honestly, when you're rocking a shoulder rig, having a heavier battery and battery plate like this one is actually really nice to have, because it helps counterweight your entire rig on your shoulder. So I would say when you rock a shoulder rig, I'd go with something more like this than the small V-mount batteries, because you get a lot less counterweight on your rig with that. So not a problem with that at all. I have no issue with having a larger V-mount battery on the back of your shoulder rig like that. Yeah, and then it looks like you've got a Sony zoom lens. I can't tell exactly which one this is. This 70 to 300 or the 70 to 200. Not for sure which one it is, but got a good zoom lens on there. You know, versatile for shoulder rig, depending on what kind of shots you're getting. And let's look at the other angle here. So here it is with it actually busted out with your grips down. Here we go. Okay, so these look like, let's see if I can draw on this. Look like some nice, basically airy, like the airy rosettes for your arms. So they're going to be nice and solid. Get them in the position you want. Airy rosette mount, and then your grips. And it looks like you've got the Nucleus Nano focus wheel right there, just mounted on the other side of your grips. You can actually get to it. Here's what I would say. And I learned about this piece, I don't know, almost about a year ago. Let me see. Okay, so if you're using the Nucleus Nano, dude, you've got to get this. It's the Tilta side focus handle. And let me go full screen here so you can see it. It's really gonna help with that setup. So if you're rocking a shoulder rig, let me see if I can get this in focus. This works with the Tilta Nucleus Nano. Okay, it literally plugs in right here. So there's a little micro port here. I'm losing my focus. Micro USB ports, and then that plugs into the Nucleus Nano motor. And it has the airy rosettes on it. Let me see, I'm trying to get this to focus. It has airy rosettes, which will work with the airy rosettes you already have on your shoulder rig. So the nice thing about this is you can keep a grip. Let me try and keep this in focus here. You can keep a grip on your shoulder rig, hold it just like this, and pull focus with this little wheel in the front. That's it. Boom, pulling focus. You don't have to reach up and grab that focus wheel or anything and try to get it in just the right spot. Like you can see here, you know, I tried doing something like this myself similarly before I knew about this, and it was just so hard to grip onto that little wheel. And I can see you have it positioned there, you're trying to do it, but I'll tell you what, man, and trying to get that wheel to spin while you're also gripping is super hard. But having the ability to just run your pointer finger along this wheel and keep a grip on it is freaking amazing. Highly recommend it. They're not very expensive. Don't quote me, but I think it's like $100. And it's totally worth it. So highly recommend it. Just get the one with the airy rosettes. They make a couple different versions, different mounts. Get the airy rosette one so it can go right onto your grip there, and should work great for you. And I see that you're saying I was looking into getting that handle. Yeah, definitely go for it. I think it'll be a good improvement for your shoulder rig. Super helpful. All right, let's see here. There's still another rig that I want to get to, so give me just a sec here. Let me get that pulled up. Make sure to get a nice high-res version of it. All right. There we go. All right, here we go. So let's see, make sure I've got this pulled up so you guys can see it. Okay. Cool. So this one is from Andy. Thanks so much for submitting this, man. I'm trying to get in everyone's reviews before this ends. Make sure that I get everyone's. So looks like we've got, and you know, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like a Sony A7S 3, I believe. Can't say for sure from this angle, but that's what it looks like. And then I see you've got an adapter here, and you're rocking a Sigma 18 to 35. And that's great. Got the carbon fiber 15 millimeter rods, nice wooden side grip, great for handheld work. And then you've done something different that no one else today has been doing, which is rocking a external power bank. I love that. I have the same exact little grip somewhere in this bucket. There we go. So this is a really nice part. I'll show you guys how it works. It's basically spring loaded, and it'll grip right onto a power bank like he's got here. And so if you have a power bank already laying around and you want to power your camera, you don't want to use a V mount, you don't want to buy one, whatever it is, this little piece is a great way to mount a power bank. And then a lot of these new, more modern cameras, like the Sony FX3, they don't really want you using like a dummy battery and a V-mount setup, I think, to power the camera. They don't really recommend it, although I still do it. They want you to do it via USB-C, and it can't just be any USB-C. It has to be PD, power distribution, which, obviously you've got rocking here. So that way you can power the camera. So going to a power bank with these more modern cameras, these modern DSLRs, might be something that we all have to do in the future if the V-mount batteries don't work for certain rigs. So I think this is great. It's good for people to see. And then obviously rocking the same top handle from SmallRig. I really love this wooden top handle. Great design, good grip, lots of mounts. And I can see you've got your monitor mounted in the exact same way here on the front. So I'm loving that. Good looking rig. Nothing overcomplicated on it. Super solid, dude. So yeah, thank you for sending that in. It looks really nice. Solid setup. All right. Take a look. Let's see. Gotcha. Okay. So couple other images and stuff, but I think we've kind of covered just about everyone's rigs. So let's see here. Back to our main camera, and all right. Let's see. So any comments I've missed? Colton saying, I built custom cables for my buddy that gives full 12 volts, but it's not easy to make unless you're very comfortable with electronics. Yeah, I haven't done any like soldering or anything, so it sounds like making some cool custom parts. Okay, Andy's saying it's an XT4. Ah, okay. Gotcha. Okay, wait, I see that now. Yeah, so I have the silver XT4, and I just wasn't recognizing that right out of the gate here. So zoom in a little bit. Now I'm seeing it because it's got the little dial here on the side for changing the EVF and the focus, or the ISO. Little rings here, the little clicky wheels on the top. Now I'm seeing it. Yep, it's an XT4. I can see it right there. Don't know how I missed that. So yes, very nice. Straight up XT4 rig. I love that. So yeah, I've done a couple of videos rigging out the XT4. Now I can totally see what it is now that you mentioned. I'm like, okay, yeah, duh. Of course that's what it is. So yeah, thank you, man, for clarifying that. Yeah, awesome. So let's see. Cool. Yeah, and Colton saying that USB-C or USB PD is definitely about to become a major thing with the new R5C. Yeah, I think it's definitely going to become one of the really popular ones. So yeah, I think we're going to have to wrap this one up. Jonah, definitely submit your camera rig. I will be doing reviews like this more and more in the future. I hop on every once in a while and do them. So definitely send it my way, Jonah, and I will do that. I'll review it in another one. We've been on for an hour and a half. I appreciate everyone that's hopped on. It's so much fun to see your guys' camera rigs, do breakdowns. I didn't really get to fully rig out this rig yet on the live stream. We just ended up looking at a lot of other rigs, but this is just a super basic setup. Obviously there's so much more you can do. But yeah, hopefully that's been helpful. Hopefully you guys had a good time seeing everyone else's camera rigs. If you're not subscribed, make sure you are subscribed and like the video, everything like that. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. It's been a really fun live stream. I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a great night or day, wherever you're at. I know we've got a worldwide audience, so wherever you are, I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Have a good one. Night.